The Detroit Pistons are what the 76ers were supposed to be, and I know that the 76ers are wishing that they kept Tobias Harris right now. I don't know where this Malik Beasley was when he was a Laker, but this dude is somebody completely different. Jayson Tatum's turnovers, and the Celtics were really missing Jaylen Brown, y'all. On today's episode of The Post Up, I'm running my mouth about how the Celtics got dropped by the Pistons. If this is your first time here, welcome back to the show. I go by the name of DJ Trice, and I'm always here running my mouth about sports. If you are listening on the audio feed, there is a video companion on YouTube if you like to watch it on the TV or do that, but it's completely cool if you like listening in Spotify, iHeartRadio, any of those other places. Hit the subscribe button so you can stay on top of the latest in sports news. Let's jump right into today's episode. I want to start this episode off by acknowledging that the Detroit Pistons that were the joke of last season with 49 losses at this same point are not the same Detroit Pistons of this year. To have over 30 wins this year when last year you didn't even have 10 wins at this time really speaks volumes to the coaching change that Detroit has done, a lot of the player development that they've been doing, as well as there's been a lot of trades. Malik Beasley was with the Bucks last year. He was not with the Detroit Pistons. It's come out that his mom is from Detroit, so he's got a lot of love for the city. He's on fire. It seems like the Detroit Pistons have kind of accumulated a group of a bunch of role players, and they're all playing really, really well together. And I'm not speaking about Cade Cunningham. We knew his rookie season that he was going to stick with the Detroit Pistons and try to get them in playoff contention. It's working. Everything that Detroit is doing is working. And I will say that I also can acknowledge that the Celtics were shorthanded. Not having Jaylen Brown in the game when he usually gives you about 25 points on average is huge, but also they got blown out. So even with Jaylen Brown's points, they might not have won last night. That's insane to think. I'm really excited for Detroit to have their 8th consecutive win and give that home crowd some reprieve, right? Last year, they just were losing. The fans were writing all kind of signs and doing crazy things. And now the city is back embracing them. I love that they did this organically through the draft, as well as acquiring other players from different places like Dennis Schroeder. Okay, he's been to every team in this league, but he is still an effective scorer. He still contributes to the game. So they've got a lot of different pieces that just seem to work well all in Detroit. Detroit had the biggest lead of the game with 23 points at one time. So think about the Detroit Pistons, who were the laughing stock of the season last year, for lack of a better term or phrase. These Detroit Pistons just beat the reigning champions, caught them on an off night. I would think that the Boston Celtics would be good enough to not be stunned like this with a team like the Detroit Pistons. Could the Cavs knock one off on them? For sure. OKC, all right. Denver, even, because it's like a clash of the past champions. But the Pistons kind of surprised me. Maybe even the Knicks. I can accept the Knicks, who have been getting a terrible rap just on First Take and most of the sports shows. A lot of people are losing faith in the Knicks, including, I think, Jeff Teague just posted a video that was talking about that. I digress on the Knicks. A lot of Detroit's points were scored in the paint. It was like watching the Detroit dunk contest at some points in it. It just seemed like the defense really wasn't reacting to the fact that they were cutting into the lane so much. They were getting a lot of like tips, offensive rebounds, just honestly layups, just wide open layups that they were executing on and hitting, and that midi, that step back just right in front of the basket. It's just so many things defensively that Boston did not do well in the paint. Like really just the rim protection was not there last night. But then right before halftime, Boston catches up. So it's tied at halftime, y'all. Tied at 55 at halftime. So Boston is looking like they're going to clean up their act and actually recover from just a terrible first half, which every basketball team has a terrible first half, second half. Those those things happen, right? So it looks like Boston is on the up and up. Nope, the third quarter came and it was the Malik Beasley show. This dude literally turned into like prime Michael Jordan on the threes, just dribbling into the paint and getting everything. His game was on fire. It was like he was playing so inspired yesterday. So big shouts out to Malik Beasley for having probably one of the best games I've ever seen him play in his career. And maybe I'm missing some games too, so I don't want to misspeak there. But that's the best I've ever seen Malik Beasley. And I know a lot of y'all is the same way. A lot of us don't remember him looking like that, especially if you're a Lakers fan, because we just had him last year on the squad. He was spot up shooting wide open for threes and wasn't hitting. He was hitting them contested last night. It was insane. All in all, I'm shocked just like y'all that the Boston Celtics were shocked by this Detroit Pistons team, but I'm also excited, right? Basketball is getting more exciting. These teams that were on the bottom, the Hornets, even though haven't been playing well these last couple games, right? The Pistons, all these teams are getting better, so we can start to see a shakeup in the top franchises. Not that I, as a Lakers fan, don't like seeing my team at the top, but it is cool to see these young guys grow a team like a OKC or like a San Antonio, like the Houston Rockets. You know, these teams that are just sticking with what they have and getting a couple players here and there, whether it's free agency or by way of trade or pick swap or whatever. It's cool to see these young guys build and beat some of these giant Goliaths. And I can acknowledge that the Celtics were that team at one point when Jaylen Brown and when Jayson Tatum were trying to figure it out before Porzingis and all of them were on there. Just saying. And also Drew Holiday really, really made a difference with them winning the championship. Thanks so much for tuning into this episode of The Post Up. I go by the name of DJ Trice, and I'll always be right here running my mouth about sports. I've got so much coming up, y'all. March Madness is coming hot and heavy. I'll be back in the Infinity TV studios. I'll drop a promo in here to give you all of the information as well as the links at where you can find it. I haven't been keeping up at all with women's college basketball, but that's cool. I'm going to catch up on Selection Sunday live in the studio with you, so make sure you pull up. I appreciate every like, share, and subscribe, y'all. I will see y'all next time on The Post Up.